Battlefield 4 in detail. In this series, we're going to take a look at the class setups in Battlefield 4. And in this first episode, we're going to be breaking down the Assault class. So let's get started. So this class still has its medical capabilities. A lot of people were hoping that maybe in Battlefield 4 we would see a similar system to Bad Company 2, with a support class where the LMGs had the med packs and the defibrillators. But we are going to see a very similar system to Battlefield 3 where the Assault class still has its medical capabilities. So now let's take a look at the weaponry that's going to be available to this class. Now of course, being the Assault class, it will still have the assault rifles available in its armory. Something that a lot of people will find frustrating. They were hoping they would maybe take away the assault rifles from the medic class, try and make it a little bit more balanced and a little less popular than it was in Battlefield 3. Now on top of the assault rifles, it will now also have the carbine rifles available to it. Now these are the type of weapons we did see the engineer class have in Battlefield 3, things like the M4 and the AK-74U. And on top of that, it will also have the shotguns available to it as it did in Battlefield 3. Now the latest and most exciting addition to the assault class is the use of the DMR, or Designated Marksman Rifles. Now this is something that I have spoke about previously, that all of the classes in the game will now have access to the DMR rifles, which are weapons such as the M39. Now of course the Recon class will still only have access to the true sniper rifles, things like the GNG-90, the M40, the 50 caliber rifle, but all of the classes will now have access to the smaller semi-automatic rifles like the M39. And these are categorized as a DMR, or Designated Marksman Rifles. Now the customization of these weapons has been broken down into 4 different categories. We now have optics, barrel, underbarrel and accessories. Now to begin with, optics of course is to do with your sights, whether you have your iron sights or some kind of scope, your Cobra sights, your red dot sight, your EOTech, your ACOG. Now on top of all the sights that we did see in Battlefield 3, we know there's going to be some new additions to the optics in Battlefield 4, things like the Vision King and the Scorpion sight, just to name a few. Now of course in Battlefield 4 we are seeing the addition of canted iron sights. Now so far I'm unsure whether or not canted iron sights would take up your accessory slot on your weapon. Now of course adding canted iron sights to the game will make a massive difference to gameplay, allowing you to have a long range and a short range option with your sights. Now I am still hoping that we will have the choice of different types of iron sights as we did in Medal of Honor Warfighter. I think this would make a great addition to the game. Now moving on to the barrel section, this will include things like your suppressor, your heavy barrel and your flash suppressor that we all saw in Battlefield 3. But it will now also include the addition of a muzzle brake. Now correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, but I think a muzzle brake will not only also slightly reduce your flash from your barrel, but it will dissipate the gas discharge from the end of your barrel as well to try and reduce recoil and increase accuracy just a little bit. As I said, I'm not too sure about that, so please correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. Now the underbarrel customization in Battlefield 4 will include things like foregrips and underslung weapons. Now the underslung weapons will only be available to the assault rifles in the assault class in Battlefield 4, and they will take up a gadget slot for your soldier. But before we get into that, let's take a look at the grips. Now in previous videos I have mentioned that Battlefield 4 will see 2 types of foregrip available to your soldier. You will have the standard foregrip that we see in Battlefield 3 that I have got equipped in this gameplay, and this will stop vertical recoil from your weapon. And you now can get angled foregrips as well, which will be slightly better at stopping lateral or horizontal recoil from your weapon. So you now have a choice of which type of recoil you want to try and reduce with different types of foregrip. Now for the assault class, we will see things like the M26 MAS, the M320 smokes and the M320 high explosive grenade launcher available for the assault class in your underbarrel customization. And as I said, this is something that's only available to the assault class in Battlefield 4. Now having this equipped will take away or count as one of your gadgets for your class, so you won't be able to use things like med packs if you have the underbarrel grenade launcher. So it's a very similar system to that we see in Battlefield 3. And the final customization slot is your accessory, and this will include things like your laser pointer and your flashlight. Now so far we don't know of any other accessories available in the game. Now I think it'd be pretty cool to see a mag pull accessory added to Battlefield 4, which would give you the ability to pull out and reload your weapon quicker if you had the mag pull grips attached to your magazines. So that's something that I think will be really cool to see in the accessory slots in Battlefield 4. Now the Assault class will have all of the sidearms in the game available for its use, as will every class in the game. Now, as I've mentioned previously, in Battlefield 4 we are going to see customization available for your sidearms. So rather than seeing the same weapon multiple times with different setups as we do in Battlefield 3, you'll now have an option of 3 different customizations for your pistols. You'll be able to choose your paint, your sights, and your accessory, things like a laser dot or a suppressor added to the weapon. The gadgets available to the Assault class in Battlefield 4 are very similar, if not the same, as Battlefield 3. You'll have your defibrillators and the option of some kind of med pack or underslung weapon. Now, the largest change to these gadgets is to do with your med pack, something I have mentioned in a previous video. You'll now have 2 types of med packs available to you. The larger, more traditional med pack that works the same as Battlefield 3, you drop it on the ground, and if a soldier is within range, it will heal him relatively quickly. And now you have the smaller med packs available to you, which you can stick to a soldier and it will heal him on the move. But this is only going to be single use. And finally, the Assault class will be able to use all 3 grenades that are available in the game. The high-powered explosive grenade, which we see in Battlefield 3, the incendiary grenade, which will be very useful against troops, and of course the flashbang grenade for clearing rooms. So that pretty much rounds up all of the facts and information that is available for the Assault class in Battlefield 4 currently. If you guys have enjoyed this episode and want to see the next episode where we take a detailed look at the Engineer class, please leave me a comment and a like, it does help me out a lot. But in the meantime guys, thank you for watching and I will see you soon.
What I do, da da do, da da do.